Hi, welcome to my shop. My name is George and I'm from Chelsea, Quebec. This is my first YouTube video. I don't know whether there'll be any others, but I am excited about this one because I have a finger joint jig that I don't think has been done before quite like this. I've looked through a number of photos on Google Images, and watched countless YouTube videos on how to construct a box joint jig, and I haven't seen this way of doing things yet, and I'd like to just show you this thing.
I'm not going to show you how to build this jig. Instead, I will just show you some of its details and demonstrate its use. You'll see that its construction is really quite simple, so I'm sure you'll be able to design and build your own version. Now in this picture, it looks like one big thing, but it's actually two separate parts held together by hand where the threaded rods meet. Here, let me show you. The rear part gives the jig its left-right stability because of the runners that ride in the miter slots. At their tail ends, there's an undermounted strut that bumps into the table saw to keep you from going too far forward. The base is glued to the runners and has a short vertical fence dadoed into it. At the front lip, nestled into the base and against the fence, is an 18-inch length of 1-inch threaded rod at 8 threads per inch. I thank John Hayes for the idea to use threaded rod as an index. The rod is mounted using silicone caulking or construction adhesive. I made sure to have it overhang the base by a little bit. The front has a shorter length of threaded rod, in this case 11 inches long, that meshes with the rear rod. It too overhangs its base by a little. At the very front there's a vertical panel for mounting the workpieces and the backing board. Just behind the vertical panel I glued a block of scrap hardwood because the leading edge will get its bottom chewed off by the saw blade or dado stack. The vertical block at the very front helps align the workpieces against each other and with the sacrificial backer board.
I've already cut the first two panels. They're sitting over here on the side, and I installed the next two panels justified up against the block the same way that the first two panels were cut. Now you might be asking yourself, shouldn't we offset the second pair by a tooth or a space that is half the interval in order to have them register properly with these? And the answer is yes, you do need an offset, but with this jig there's an easier way to do it, and that's simply to move over a couple of teeth. Now you can't see them, but I have red and blue registration marks on this that let me do the cut. So let's get started. Okay, it's a little snug, but can't argue with the registration. This will be great.
The jig is versatile in three ways. The first way is that many different spacings can be accomplished with this one design. The only one in the picture that didn't pass is the smallest, the 1/16 inch tooth at 1/8 inch intervals. I tried two different skill saw blades, but their kerfs were just a little wider than the 1/16 inch I thought they were. But as you can see in the photo, I had good success with 1/8 inch teeth through to 1/2 inch. The second way it's versatile is in how wider spacing can be achieved than one's arbor can hold. For example, you can mount a 1/4 inch dado stack, but with an extra jog of the jig, the space can be 3/8 of an inch. With extra jig jogs, you can create intervals well beyond your arbor's capacity. The third way this jig is versatile is that it is easy to make irregular intervals, as you would see in green and green furniture. Now this jig will handle just about every finger joint I would want to make, but there's more. Now I'm sorry if this is starting to sound like a pitch, but here's the other thing. Maybe someday I will want to use 1/16 of an inch spacing. So naturally I thought to build another smaller jig using 3/8 inch rod at 16 TPI. And then this came to me by way of the ghost of Christmas present. And who doesn't like Christmas presents? If I hold a 16 TPI rod at the right height, it will mesh with 8 TPI rods. So there it is, a couple of options for finer spacing. One is to build a second jig, the other is just to jam the finer rod between the two coarse ones.
In the title, I described this jig as being simple. And by that I mean it's simple to build. All of its precision comes from the threaded rod, and that you buy. You don't build it. As far as the rest of the build goes, it's important that this threaded rod is perpendicular to the runners. It's important that the threaded rod in the front is parallel to the face. It's important that the face is perpendicular to the table saw. And it's important that your block here registers at right angles as well to the table saw. Other than that, there's not much that can go wrong. Your little fences can be leaning back or forward a little bit, doesn't matter. The wood that you use can vary. Everything you see here was made from scrap, so there's some 3/4 inch Baltic birch back here, there's some 1/2 inch Baltic birch up there. It's a mix and match of whatever was lying around the shop. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I especially hope that you'll want to build a jig like this of your own. Now, as I mentioned, this is my first YouTube video, so I'm not sure exactly what's going to be in the description, but I'll try to leave enough information so that you can get a hold of me if you're interested. Thanks so much for sticking through this far, and good luck with your own woodworking adventures. Bye for me.